Tunley Avenue.
Hudson County View live and uncut, and I'm your host for What You See Is What You Get, and What You Don't Is Better Yet, John R. Heinis, and of course we're going to talk the latest and greatest at Hudson County News. So, one unfortunate one, I guess technically out of Hoboken, though, we're in the Hudson River, this boat capsized, and unfortunately there was about a dozen injuries and 2 fatalities, so obviously very unfortunate set of circumstances. We're going to let you know what happened there. We're also going to talk about an appellate court decision that came in Hoboken. This was about the Hoboken Municipal Employees Association challenging the city over a pay dispute back in 2020, and the court ruled in favor of the union. So we're going to chat a little about that. We're also going to talk about a new lawsuit involving the Jersey City Board of Education. These 2 former Ferris High School students, both women, have made allegations here that they were assaulted by a teacher in the middle of class. So we're going to tell you what exactly those allegations entail. And fortunately today, I'm joined with Hoboken 4th Ward Councilman Ruben Ramos, so certainly we're going to talk about that appellate decision. We're going to talk about this whole Poggi Press Municipal Complex situation, and I'm sure a whole lot more right after we hear a word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Hi, I'm Elisa Cintron with some good news. The North Bergen Pool Complex is open. Let's go check it out. New Jersey's best pool complex, open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. with pools for every age. With a main pool, a lap pool, a kiddie pool, and a splash pool. The pool complex also has concession stands with tables and benches and lots of shaded areas, with basketball and volleyball courts, changing room with lockers, and lots of fun. North Bergen pool memberships starting at $165 for the season, $95 for seniors. For more pool information, scan this QR code with your phone. I'm Elisa Cintron, and I'll see you in the pool.
Hudson County View live and uncut, John R. Heinis. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, today I'm joined with Hoboken 4th Ward Councilman Ruben Ramos. Councilman, pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me, John. I really appreciate it.
Yes, very welcome. So yeah, let's talk about what was going on at the council meeting. Not a particularly long one by your guys' standards, only about 2 hours, but it was just chock full of important resolutions and ordinances. So of course, the most important is probably the budget, right? Mm-hmm. So that's about a $132 million spending plan, and it's looking at a 2.56% municipal increase, but it's a flat tax rate overall when you include the Board of Ed and the county. So obviously when this got introduced, we were looking at a 5.6% municipal increase, and you know, obviously it looks like clearer heads prevailed, and you guys were able to work together. So just walk us through how you got to this point.
Yeah, like I said at the council meeting, when I first saw the 5.6% tax increase, maybe on your website actually, an article from you, I thought it was an Onion article. Couldn't believe it. And I thought, if you're gonna do something like that, maybe have the backup, just as like almost like just put this out there as a red herring, but we have the plan to get it down to 2% or 2.5%. But it didn't seem, as the council meetings were progressing and the budget hearings were going on, it didn't seem like that was actually the case. It's like, they're actually going to want to push a 5.6% tax increase. But like you said, I'm glad that cooler heads prevailed at the end of the day. Let's get it at 2.5, 2.6% range, because talking to council members, that seemed like the range where people be comfortable with to provide equitable services for everyone, make sure we didn't have cuts. I mean, at first I did propose cuts because there were some issues that I cared about for my ward and throughout the city that I thought that could be included in the budget to try and increase the quality of life of residents in Hoboken. Those things were excluded there. I think it still could be a little top heavy, the budget is, but ultimately the most important thing that we do as a city council and as a government is to give our residents a clear state of mind of what their tax bill is, right, going forward, and make sure these are government services that we're willing to provide for you, are going to provide for you, and make sure that we still have a safe and healthy city moving forward. I think we accomplished that. I would have liked to cut a little bit more. I think a little too top heavy there, but ultimately I thought it was a good compromise. That's why I approved the budget, or voted in favor of the budget at the end of the day.
All right. So at the municipal level, we're at 2.56. At the Board of Ed, it was a 2%. And at the county, we got a decrease. Was that about 4% or?
Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5% decrease. So the county, again, 2 years in a row, they really saved Hoboken's hide, looking at an overall 0% tax increase. But that's almost like cheating on a test, right? Our portion of that test is delivering our service for it, right? Not knowing what the other two agencies do. So we can still do a better job on our test portion of it. And overall, like our biggest blessing for Hoboken residents is that the other municipalities are growing. They're growing their rateable base, and we're growing and we're benefiting from that. For a number of years back in the 90s and the early 2000s, when Hoboken had our boom, we were growing at a massive rate. We were feeding the county budget. We were the county budget. We saw our tax increases from the county go 5%, 6% each year locally, while we were holding our tax line at 1%, 2%, even 0% for a lot of years. Actually, most of those years are probably 0% budgets, because we were cognizant of the fact that the county portion was going up 6% those years. So it's finally nice to see that return coming back on our end, and seeing other municipalities throughout the county growing their rateable base, and we're a beneficiary of that.
Right. Now, one thing that I know you were advocating for your ward was the multi-service center, and they've allocated.
Not in my ward anymore, actually, with the gerrymandering or the redistricting of my ward. Multi-service center, 401st Street was in my ward since I was born, probably. Not in my ward any longer, but still, it's in Hoboken, so it matters to me, right?
Got it.
So one of the things there, we were able to include $300,000 to start the initial planning process and phase of that, to revitalize that building. I think it's way overdue, and I think that was a big contention point with the referendum we had with the Board of Education and their new high school. I think if you look at all of our schools throughout the city, they are dilapidated, they are in need of dire repair there. But I think when they went it was overwhelming with like recreational facilities.
Yeah.
And I think us as a city should be providing those recreational opportunities, so they could just try and build a great school that could provide a dynamic education for their population, and then enhance the other buildings as well as they move forward. So I want us to do our part, and them to do their part academically, our part recreationally. Hopefully, that we'll keep cost downs on both ends for both of us going forward.
So speaking about the Hoboken Board of Ed, there's a rumor that perhaps you may have a little detail on. So people are telling me that this budget had a $1 million pilot from 770 Jackson Street going to the Board of Ed, but apparently that allocation is not actually going to be possible.
It's not in our budget. I know I advocated for the 770 Jackson to have the pilot go to a portion of our schools. We haven't reached an agreement yet internally. The administration hasn't found the proper way, or they deem a proper way to disseminate the funding there. I think we came up with a plan last year with DCA to come up with shared service agreements, so all three of our charter schools, which are public funded schools as well, and our Hoboken public schools could all receive a portion of their funding there. Right now, the administration doesn't think that's feasible. They're looking at other avenues and trying to work with DCA and the Department of Education to try and find a feasible way to disseminate that funding. So I don't know where that $1 million from their budget is coming from, but we have not committed to that in our budget. And I'm hoping that we're able to find a solution. I thought the shared service agreement that we came up with a little over a year ago at this time was a feasible, and it's a legal outcome for everyone that we could go through. But the administration has a different idea and a different path they want to go through. But hopefully we'll be able to disseminate that funding within this year, or hopefully next year.
All right. Councilman, don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere either. We're going to be right back.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, certified parts and service, located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a refer friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, still here with Hoboken 4th Ward Councilman Ruben Ramos. So, Councilman, now let's talk municipal complex, right? So we've seen quite a few things happen since the end of February. You know, the administration, through the spokeswoman, told me that, yeah, like they were looking at this public safety complex. We then heard the mayor talk about that in the state of the city. And now it's evolved to this municipal complex. We're talking municipal court, council chambers, of course, the DPW to fulfill that Monarch settlement, and a pool, so on and so forth. And we're looking at a $192.5 million price tag, roughly. And this would be on the Poggi Press site at 1501 Adams Street. And certainly Charles Poggi, the owner of the site, is not too thrilled with this situation, as he's been quite vocal about. With all that said, you know, the council as a whole approved this resolution to let the Hudson County Improvement Authority consider using this specific piece of land for the municipal complex. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's an extreme waste of taxpayers' dollars if we pursue that route. We committed as a city with the Monarch settlement to try and find a new DPW site, and I'm committed to doing that. And I think there's a way to do it in a more cost-effective manner. And I think there's also a way for us to try and meet all the needs the municipality is looking for in that project, whether it's a new police station, the new fire station, ambulance station. Throughout, let's look at the entire city holistically. And we have some land up north. If we work with developers, there's only 4 property owners there. We could potentially bring those cost savings down from 192 maybe to just $50 million, but looking at throughout the city. So I think we should have those larger conversations, whether it's, let's say we're going to spend $192 million on this huge facility. That debt service, when that bill comes due, is not going to be $102 million, $92 million. It's going to be about $2 to $3 million a year on our budget at the end of the day. Next year, we bought a park for $100 million. That park's being constructed right now. Next year, when that park comes online and that bill comes due, $3 million automatically our budget's going to increase just on that. That needs to be paid. So you want to add more onto that, $192 million onto that, I think is inconceivable right now, for me anyway. But I think if you work with the other property owners, if you look at the other properties we own throughout the city, there's a way to accomplish all those goals. But that takes work. That takes effort. That takes compromise. I've shown a willingness to do that in the past. I did that with this budget recently. I'm willing to work with the Board of Education to try and get them, to try and find them a new facility where they need to go, work on the multi-service center, work with the police department to try and find a new facility for them. All of that could be done, but you can't just do it in a vacuum and throw this against the wall. If you give Poggi some rights on his property, that brings that cost down. We don't have to purchase that property. He'll give us his side of the property there. I'm willing to spend what it needs to spend to get the DPW built, right? That was our agreement. When we settled the Monarch, I'm willing to do that, but I think the way the administration right now is going about it is just way out of line what the taxpayers of Hoboken are looking for. And I'm not getting, there have been multiple meetings about it. I haven't received one email about it, one phone call about it saying, we need to get this done. We need to get this done. No one's knocking on my door to get that done. People did knock on my door saying, when I was a no supporter in the referendum for the Board of Education, high school, said, okay, you voted no. What are you going to do about that? And that's when I really started pushing hard for the multi-service center. I've spoken about it for years, but that was really my impetus to start pushing harder and harder to see the multi-service center get through there. And there's ways that we could do the multi-service center and not have to pay for that as well, or pay a minimal cost. Let's keep the cost down, provide those services for our residents throughout the city, but not break the taxpayers doing it at the same time.
Right. So whether the HCIA is utilized or not, this is going to probably be a protracted legal battle, right? I mean, this isn't something that's going to get done in a week or a month or 3 months even, right? And the cost of the property has been appraised at 19.3. Poggi said that's a non-starter. And, it looks like this is going to take quite a while. And with the DPW site has to be completed by November 24, it's a tight timeline.
Listen, the mayor does have the authority to grant eminent domain, right? He does have that authority. What we're doing now, we're not holding the price back for the bond that he needs to say, hey, we want to offer you $19 million, here's your $19 million with the bond issue. That's where we're holding the line right now with at least 4 members right now. But hopefully other members do hold the line in that going forward as well. But again, it's going to be extremely litigious. And then that's the overall price, right? Has to be mind-boggling. I mean, at the end of the day, right, I have kids. And I say, okay, And my kids will tell me, okay, I want this, I want this, I want that. Well, you know what? You can't have all those things, right? And then we have to do that as a municipality as well. We want all these things, but okay, how are we going to pay for these things? And do you need, my daughter wants a Ferrari. I said, no, you can't have a Ferrari, you can have a Hyundai, right? 'Cause that's what I could afford. So, but the Hyundai gets you from A to B. So maybe the Hyundai municipal complex will get us where we need to go. But there's other property owners throughout the city potentially that provide those complexes that we need to provide a safe environment for our residents.
Gotcha. And Councilman, finally, just briefly, now there was that appellate decision that came out on Friday and the Municipal Employees Association.
Yeah, we lose a lot of lawsuits in Hoboken, it seems. It's like, let's just stop at the end of the day. It's like, what are we doing half the time?
So yeah, they ruled in favor of the union, and there was that pay dispute when the layoffs were coming, and we didn't get a definitive conclusion out of the appellate, but it appears to me, and many others have pointed out, that it looks like they're going to owe quite a bit of back pay here.
Yeah, I think we'll hopefully next week or so, we'll have the details exactly what our responsibility will be. I think we unilaterally made decisions outside the collective bargaining agreement, or the city did it anyway, and so we violated the collective bargaining agreement. I'm a big union guy, so we shouldn't do that in the first place, right? You can't just lower someone's salary and make it 65 to 35 off the bat, not honor their longevity. So it seems we lost that part of the battle. I'm hoping we don't appeal it, but again, when if we're making decisions like just spot on that day where we're living in that moment, not looking what could happen down the road, especially when unions have rights and collective bargaining has rights. We didn't think that would happen. This was going to be the outcome of that. It's just any bargaining unit in the state of New Jersey that went down Hoboken's path that they went down would have the same result. It's like almost mind-boggling that it went down that path in the first place.
Got it.
I was against it at the time. I thought those it was extremely unfortunate we lost those longtime employees in that way.
Very good.
So it's regrettable.
Councilman, always a pleasure. Thanks for
I
joining me.
appreciate your time. It's hot in here, guys. Let's get the air conditioned. And next time we talk sports.
All right, fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Introducing the all-new Ford Maverick. A truck for people who do stuff. And people who make stuff. People like Gabrielle Union.
I make this look good, don't I?
Who haul whatever they want to wherever they want. Like wood to build things made of wood with. And friends to get weird with. It's for long trips that the standard hybrid engine with a targeted EPA estimated city fuel economy rating of 40 miles per gallon helps with. That an 8-inch touchscreen connects with. And any trip that this interior makes more comfortable. But we'll let Gabrielle tell you all about it.
Or I could just tell them it's a Ford truck that starts at less than $20,000 MSRP.
Yep, that works too. The all-new Ford Maverick, built to defy expectations.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John Heinis. So let's talk about what happened in the Hudson River. Again, a very unfortunate set of circumstances. Couldn't really call it anything but a just terrible tragedy. But on Tuesday, afternoon. This was approximately 3 p.m. New York Waterway responded to an emergency when a boat overturned in the Hudson River north of Pier 79 Midtown Ferry Terminal. And 2 ferries, the Garden State and the John Stevens, arrived on the scene, and their crews rescued 9 passengers. This was a tweet from New York Waterway. And we've come to learn since that there were 13 passengers. And even with the response from the New York Fire Department of New York and the New York Police Department, specifically their harbor and aviation units, even with all those hands on deck, unfortunately, 2 lives were lost there, a 50-year-old woman and a 7-year-old child. So, our thoughts and prayers are certainly with the families during this very, very unfortunate time. So not really much else to add there, but if we hear any further updates, certainly let you know. So now getting back to politics for a moment, we actually heard from Senator Bob Menendez, of course, the senior senator here in New Jersey, and he was talking about the $30 billion Gateway Tunnel project over in Washington, D.C., and basically he said this is a project of national significance. So I'm going to read to you in part what he said at this hearing, where he was joined from a Federal Transit Administration official, specifically Nuria Fernandez. So anyway, Senator Menendez said, I would say it's a project of national significance. When you have 20% of the entire nation's GDP generated by the region, this is a linchpin to mobility for businesses, to get workers to work, for people to go to hospitals, and a whole host of other things. And he repeated, I think it's a project of national significance. So for those of you that are following the national news, you will know that last week, New Jersey and New York signed a memorandum of understanding that was announced by, of course, our governor, Phil Murphy, and the New York governor, Kathy Hochul, and that this is going to outline sources, uses, and timing of funding on behalf of the 2 states for the Gateway project. And, that's a major first step to get this thing going. We're still a ways off before we get shovels in the ground, but, this is a big first step. So moving right along, we're now going to talk about a very rare drug bust in Kearney. And this situation was actually a 4-month investigation. And they recovered $165,000 in clothing and jewelry, 14.9 pounds of marijuana, over 2 kilograms of cocaine, and $1,500 cash. Again, not something you see in West Hudson every day. So with that, there are 2 arrests that they announced here. Javier Ortega, he's 40, and he's from Newark, and Severiano Ibert Perez, who's 42, and he's from Bronx, New York, and they were charged with burglary, theft, and conspiracy. Now, this also was a multi-agency investigation, not just the Kearney PD. They also had a hand from the New Milford, North Bergen, and Jersey City Police Departments. Said this was their detective bureau. That Kearney Detective Bureau is under the direction of Deputy Chief Scott McPhee. So it's a bit of a long story, but on February 27th, Kearney PD received a report of 2 residential burglaries, and they were connected to incidents in North Bergen and Jersey City within about a month span, February 22nd and March 29th, respectively. And this actually involved also some assistance from the Office of the Bronx District Attorney, because Kearney detectives actually arrested Perez at his home. So basically that's the story, though. There are warrant complaints have also been filed charging Alexis Gonzalez, 43, also of the Bronx, with burglary and conspiracy to commit the aforementioned offenses. And we also heard from George King, who's the Kearney Police Chief, and he thanked the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, the Bronx District Attorney's Office, Newark Police Emergency Services Unit, Newark Real-Time Crime Center, and the Essex County Prosecutor's Office for their help in the matter. So with that, we're going to take one more break. We'll be right back.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John Heinis. So a couple more before we call it, well, I guess a summer really, but we'll tell you about that in a few minutes. So this lawsuit filed in Hudson County Superior Court, it's actually an 8-count lawsuit that was filed 6 days ago, has these bold allegations against Ferris High School, the Board of Education, and the acting principal. Now, we have 2 former students, and they're claiming that a teacher again assaulted them in the middle of class. So straight from the lawsuit, Nayeli Sanchez was inappropriately touched, assaulted, battered, humiliated, and caused to suffer emotional distress by the defendant, Michael J. Voza. Specifically, he grabbed the plaintiff's purse and spilled the contents within it. And then the lawsuit goes on to say that he punched her on the left side of the neck and head. And this alleged incident took place on May 3rd, 2019. So a little over 3 years ago. And there's another student in the same class. Her name is Sadishi Garcia Ventura. She makes similar allegations, though specifically she says Voza pulled her hair, grabbed her face and attempted to put lipstick on her, and later kicked her in the buttocks. And the suit alleges assault and battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, negligent hiring, training and supervision, breach of duty of teacher and school personnel to student, and violation of civil rights. And they're represented by Paul E. Agrippidis, that's of Agrippidis and Morales PC out of Hasbrook Heights, and acting principal Jamie Morales is also named as defendants. And no comment from the Board of Education at this time. I imagine they're not going to do so until this thing is settled, but certainly if we hear from them, we'll let you know. The only other thing that I want to add is I actually saw something out of Trenton from one of our Twitter followers that pointed out that Voza has had his teaching certificate suspended, and that was far before this lawsuit was filed. I don't have the date handy, but certainly worth mentioning that he is no longer able to teach here in the state of New Jersey. So with that, we're going to just talk a little Jersey City Council from last night. And at that, it was a relatively short meeting, just about 2 hours. And actually, before we get to that, let's talk about the Cannabis Control Board just real quick. I mean, this is a marathon meeting, 7 hours. Thankfully, I had my reporter, Daniel Uloa, over there, and he did a great job, I think, at telling us what happened. I mean, we had actually 10 applications in front of the board, which is quite a few. So 4 ended up being carried to the next meeting just because they went so late. 3 received approval, 2 were postponed, and 1 was voted down. So I'll leave that at that for now because it's just so much information. But quite a few new dispensaries look like they're on the way to Jersey City. So with that, as I just started to say, let's get into the council meeting. So there was the Exchange Place Alliance Special Improvement District's budget, $3.75 million. That was approved, as were 3 dispensaries that we were just talking about. So the thing about the Exchange Place Alliance budget, SID budget, while this is nothing out of the ordinary, something that's on the agenda for the past 4 years now, the reason this has a little more intrigue this time around is because there's a lawsuit against the Exchange Place redevelopment plan. We have 2 Polish-American groups and a resident, Gene Daly, claiming that this will obstruct the views of the Caton Monument. Of course, we remember how much of an uproar the city was up in when they were talking about moving this monument a few years ago, and some of those residents expressed concern about the monument not getting its due here and basically getting covered up by this plan. As it would be, the council still approved it by a pretty strong margin. That was 6-0-2, and we saw Joyce Waterman, who sits on the board for the SID, abstain, as well as Ward C Councilman Rich Baggiano. And we also saw 3 dispensaries approved, as I mentioned just a moment ago, and I'm going to tell you what those 3 are in just a second. That is WR Wellness, that is MMDNJ Inc., and the final one is Blossom Dispensary. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to actually call it a summer. Hudson Media Group's going to go on hiatus until after September 11th. So we will see you in about 2 months. Everybody have a great and healthy summer.